Welcome to the official Sales and Marketing for Beauty Conference podcast. This is your go-to destination for real-world insights on building, growing, and thriving in the beauty industry. Whether you're a beauty entrepreneur, a salon or spa owner, a product brand owner, or an aspiring professional, you're in the right place. Each episode is your personal masterclass in beauty entrepreneurship, from sales strategy and social media tips to brand building and behind the scenes stories from industry leaders. SAMB is more than a podcast or an event. We're a year-round support system. Mark your calendar for SAMB 2025, our flagship conference happening November 5th through the 7th. It's a virtual event. And so we have a lot of global speakers as well as speakers there in the U.S. and local to New York City. We'll also have some local networking opportunities, and there'll be virtual networking opportunities. And so there'll be hands-on workshops, one-to-one consultations, expert-led sessions, all designed to help you scale and succeed and get real actionable strategies and tips to grow the sales and marketing function of your business, right? So stay tuned for the podcast. Make sure you check out our website, and we hope to see you at SAMB 2025.
Today, we're really digging into something huge in the beauty world. It's not just looking at trends. We're dissecting this massive, crucial transformation.
Yeah.
It's all about consumer psychology, how people shop. Our mission really is to take all this detailed source material you've shared and figure out how, why, and where beauty customers are actually spending their money in 2025. Because the whole landscape, it's shifted completely away from that old model, right? The glossy ads, the sort of untouchable celebrity faces. And it's moved towards something much more immediate, more demanding even, and definitely more human. We're talking authenticity, radical personalization, and this really seamless digital flow.
Yeah, and what jumps out immediately from the sources is that this isn't just gradual change. It feels more like a revolution, honestly.
Yeah.
And the speed, it's just breathtaking. What's interesting is that the shift, it isn't really being dictated top-down by tech companies or anything. It feels like it's being mandated directly by the consumer.
Yeah.
Specifically, Gen Z and those high-spending millennials, they're the engine here.
Right. They're the ones demanding it.
Exactly. They're demanding brands reflect their values, communicate with total transparency, and they want brands to stop treating them like just passive targets for marketing. For these generations, making a purchase is almost like a statement. It's about alignment.
And the data backs that up, doesn't it? The whole battleground has shifted. It's not just happening in the physical store anymore. We know, the numbers show in-person beauty store visits in the U.S., they've measurably declined. While at the same time, that digital discovery, the constant scrolling, researching, sharing it, just keeps surging.
It really does.
It means brands have got to realize that first encounter, that first impression with the customer is pretty much exclusively happening on a small screen now. Often when people aren't even actively looking to buy something.
And if we start right there with that initial engagement, the whole foundation of consumer trust, it's fundamentally relocated. This might be the most profound change detailed in all the material you provided. That traditional authority structure, it's basically gone. Your sources make it crystal clear. Creators, not CEOs, not supermodels. Creators are the new authority figures in the beauty space.
They really are the cornerstone, aren't they? Acting as these trusted, relatable product testers. And we are way past the point where this is just some niche trend. The data, it shows the majority of Gen Z women now say creators shape at least one of their regular beauty or wellness routines.
Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, the implications are huge. Influence is fragmented now, it's decentralized. It flows through thousands of these individual trusted voices, not just one big marketing funnel.
And that trust, it's incredibly robust. We see this really revealing hierarchy of influence emerge. Consumers trust content from creators more than they trust traditional ads. Okay, that makes sense.
Logical.
But here's the kicker. They even trust creator content more than general personal recommendations from friends or family.
Whoa, hang on. That feels counterintuitive. Why would a review from someone I follow online but don't know personally carry more weight than my best friend telling me her favorite mascara is amazing?
Yeah, it does seem odd at first glance, right? But it really comes down to context and scale. Your friend might say, oh, this product is great, full stop. But a creator, they provide this detailed, often quite unvarnished test drive. They'll show you the texture, the application, how long it wears. And crucially, they show it on diverse skin tones in real-life settings. Settings that actually mimic the consumer's own reality.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. It's the demonstration, the visual proof in context.
Exactly. That curated real-life context carries immense credibility. More than a simple word-of-mouth recommendation often can, because it's just harder to verify the actual utility from a friend's quick comment.
Okay, so let's unpack what that creator content needs to actually look like.
Yeah.
Because it definitely can't be some tightly controlled, highly produced studio shoot anymore. You said consumers demand authenticity over polish.
Absolutely. Authenticity is like the main currency now. And for brands, this requires a massive shift. They have to let go of some control. Success now really requires brands to step back and genuinely give those creators real creative freedom. They just can't afford to tightly control the narrative or, dictate the specific angles the creator has to use. If the content ends up looking like an ad, it loses all its credibility instantly.
That sounds like a pretty high-risk proposition for a brand manager, though. You're essentially handing over your messaging to someone else, an autonomous third party. Is there a risk of, inconsistency or even getting outright negative feedback pushed out there?
There is. Of course there is. And you know what? That risk is kind of built into this new model. The consumer sees that autonomy, that willingness of the brand to step back as a sign of confidence in the product itself. If the creator is credible, meaning they actually have the autonomy to offer genuine critique, good or bad, then the product becomes credible just by association. That credibility, fostered by the creator's freedom, that's what directly converts viewers into loyal long-term customers. If a brand only works with creators who give nothing but flawless, glowing reviews, consumers see right through that now.
Right. It creates this essential feedback loop. And that loop brings us straight to the necessity of social listening. It's not enough anymore just to push content out and, hope for the best. Brands have to stop just posting and actually actively start listening.
Yes. User-generated content and all the commentary around it, it's basically a goldmine. A goldmine for genuine, authentic insight. It offers this transparent window into exactly what beauty fans are loving, what they're critiquing, and maybe even what they're craving that doesn't even exist yet. This is how brands can spot trends before they really become mainstream trends.
Yeah, I love the specific examples the sources brought up for what's bubbling up right now. These aren't trends just invented in some corporate boardroom. They're coming up organically from these community conversations. We're seeing these specialized concepts gain real traction, like biome-friendly skincare.
That's a perfect example. It shows this scientific curiosity driving what people buy. Biome-friendly, it just means products that respect and support the skin's natural microbiome. All those trillions of microorganisms living on our skin. It's kind of a rejection of those harsh, stripping, sterilizing ingredients we used to see. And this trend goes way beyond that often vague idea of just clean beauty. It gets into verifiable biological function. Brands need to be able to actually talk about things like prebiotics, postbiotics, specific ingredient pH levels. That's what it takes to address this demand properly.
And then there's the other side of that coin, almost the efficiency side. Minimalist skin streaming routines. This sounds like it speaks to a desire for health without all the complexity.
Exactly. Skin streaming is all about simplifying the regimen, often cutting routines down from 10 steps to maybe just 3 or 4 highly effective multi-purpose products. It's driven by efficiency, sure, but also a realization that sometimes piling on too many conflicting ingredients can actually do more harm than good. It feels like a direct response to product burnout and just an overwhelming, oversaturated market.
So, okay, these trends are bubbling up. How do smart brands actually capitalize on these real-time conversations?
Well, they absolutely have to leverage sophisticated social listening tools. They need to rigorously monitor sentiment, identify keyword trends, track product mentions. But the key bit is the actionable response. They have to respond swiftly. Maybe that means launching a new product that perfectly addresses a gap people are talking about, say, a specific biome-friendly moisturizer designed for acne-prone skin. Or maybe it's just providing immediate, transparent answers about ingredients or sourcing when consumers raise questions online. That level of responsiveness, it validates the community, makes them feel heard, and it strengthens the brand story far more than any traditional PR campaign ever could.
Okay, that level of digital engagement, that listening and responding, it leads us perfectly into the customer journey itself, which, as you said, has become the primary gateway. And here's that anchor statistic again. More than 80% of beauty discovery, it starts online. This isn't just where purchases sometimes happen anymore. This is the starting line for almost everyone.
80%. It's huge. If a brand's discovery process isn't fully mapped out and optimized across that whole digital ecosystem, well, they're just missing the vast majority of their initial customer interactions. And we're talking about a really fragmented ecosystem here. It includes short-form stuff like TikTok, Get Ready With Me videos, Instagram Reels, but also cutting-edge tools like AR try-on features, those crucial creator reviews we talked about, and those increasingly complex AI-powered product recommendation engines trying to guess what you need based on your browsing history.
Yeah, it's definitely not a neat straight line from A to B anymore, is it? Consumers are kind of spiraling through multiple touch points. Maybe they see a creator review, then they use an AR tool on the brand site, then they check the ingredient list on their laptop, all before they even think about buying. So brands have to meticulously map out what you call the digital funnel.
Right, mapping the funnel. It means rigorously tracking how customers first enter the journey, like which social platform brought them in initially. Then, how do they engage across other platforms after that? And critically, where do they exit the journey? The goal is really twofold. First, identify the high-performing digital funnels, what path actually makes a TikTok viewer convert on the website later. And second, maybe even more importantly, identify those friction points along the way. Where are customers dropping off? Why?
Can you give us an example? Like, what's a common friction point you see in beauty e-commerce?
I'd say the biggest one is probably product uncertainty. Simple as that. If a customer is ready to buy, say, a new foundation shade, but they just can't visualize it properly on their own skin tone from the website photos, that's friction. Big friction. Or if the website doesn't clearly show the full ingredient list easily, or if the shipping cost isn't visible until the very, very last page of checkout. Ugh,
It's friction.
that's friction too. Identifying and actively removing that kind of operational friction, it allows for dramatically stronger personalization and, at the end of the day, significantly higher conversion rates because you're making the path to purchase seamless.
Okay, but to personalize effectively, to remove that friction, you need solid, reliable data, which brings us right to the imperative of first-party data, especially now, right, with global privacy regulations tightening up, with the ongoing death of third-party cookies. Relying on their generalized third-party info just seems like a losing strategy.
Oh, absolutely. This represents a massive shift in how brands value assets. First-party data, that's the data a brand collects directly from its customers through their interactions, it's now considered a brand's single most valuable asset in 2025, period. You own it, you control it, and crucially, it gives you unique, competitive insights that your rivals simply can't access.
And the sources pointed to a really neat, low-lift tool for gathering this crucial insight. Microsurveys. Let's dig into the mechanics of that because it sounds super actionable.
Yeah, they are. Microsurveys are basically short, highly targeted questions. You present them precisely at key moments when the customer is already engaged. It's about trading a tiny bit of the customer's time for immediate, actionable personalization. These are not those old, exhaustive 10-question surveys that people just instantly click away from.
Right, nobody wants those. So how does a beauty brand weave these in seamlessly? Where do they pop up?
Well, think about timing and context. A post-purchase quiz. That's critical. Instead of just saying, thanks for your order, you ask something simple like, which of these 3 goals is your main priority right now? Deep hydration, refining texture, or anti-aging? That's incredibly high-value info. Or maybe before checkout, you have a quick product match tool that asks, what's your main skin concern today? Based on your answer, say, they click acne or sensitivity, the brand can instantly present a curated bundle of complementary products or just confirm that the item they chose actually meets those specific needs.
So it's the immediate use of that data that makes it so powerful. It's not just collecting it for later.
Exactly right. These tools offer a really low-lift way to gather specific, high-intent insights about preferences, needs, priorities. The key takeaway here is that the brands that capture this first-party data and actively use it, not just store it away somewhere to inform personalized recommendations or dynamically create bundle offers, they are significantly outperforming their more generic competitors. They're leveraging unique insights for immediate, profitable action. It's smart business.
Okay, so once you've acquired the customer using those perfected, personalized digital funnels, the focus has got to shift, right? It moves entirely to retention. Now we're into operational excellence, specifically maximizing that replenishment business model. Because beauty is inherently a replenishment-driven business. Things run out.
Totally. This means that expensive, often high-risk focus on just constantly acquiring new customers, It really has to yield to maximizing repeat sales, boosting that lifetime customer value, the LTV. But you have to be incredibly nuanced about the timing and the operational execution. It's not one size fits all. Not all products follow the same reorder cadence, the same rhythm.
Yeah, and that nuance is where the data really becomes crucial again. The source material highlighted this perfectly, like a high-quality eyeliner or mascara. That might have a longer, maybe quarterly repurchase cycle, say 90 to 110 days, whereas a high SPF sunscreen or a daily facial cleanser, that might get reordered monthly, especially if the customer uses it religiously.
Analyzing those specific repurchase cycles is absolutely critical. If you know the average time it takes for a customer to run out of their favorite foundation, you can implement much smarter retargeting. You can send automated reminders or run precise replenishment campaigns that hit the customer right at the exact moment they're starting to think, I need to replace that soon. Doing that reduces the temptation for them to browse competitor sites. You're basically inserting your brand into their thought process exactly when they need you.
Clever. And to really understand the health of your customer base, to keep them coming back, you have to anticipate where things might go wrong, right?
Right.
Where they might leave. This is where cohort analysis comes in. Now, for listeners who might have heard the term but aren't sure how it applies here, can you quickly define how beauty brands use it?
Sure. Cohort analysis basically means segmenting your customers into groups, usually based on when they first bought something or sometimes what they first bought. So for example, cohort A could be all customers who bought our starter skincare bundle back in January 2024. Cohort B might be all customers who just bought a single shade of lipstick in February 2024. By tracking these separate groups over time, you can reveal precisely when customers stop buying typically occurs in their journey. You might see, for instance, that cohort A consistently starts falling off around the 12-month mark.
Okay, and if you identify that 5-month churn trigger for that specific group, then you can proactively step in. You can deploy retention strategies targeted specifically at that cohort just before they hit that point.
Exactly. And just as crucially, you can identify which specific product bundles or maybe subscription setups encourage longer retention overall. If customers who signed up for a 2-product subscription box have an 80% higher retention rate than those who just bought those same products individually, well, you know where to focus your marketing efforts and your offers. The message here is just undeniable. Retention is the absolute foundation of sustainable growth. If your acquisition strategy is like a leaky bucket and it costs 5 times more to get a new customer than to keep an existing one happy, you simply won't survive in 2025.
Okay, so beyond just keeping customers, brands have to constantly be testing and tweaking the actual path to purchase itself. You have to keep measuring what actually moves the needle, what works best, and that means rigorous A/B testing, doesn't it? Across every little operational element.
Oh, it's essential. A/B testing provides invaluable quantitative insight into what drives conversions. You test everything: email subject lines, landing page layouts, the wording on the add to cart button, the entire checkout flow experience. We're often talking about seemingly minute details that can yield massive results when scaled. For example, testing whether offering free shipping over $50 performs better than offering, say, a free mini product sample with any purchase. Which one actually gets more people to complete the checkout? Even small user experience UX improvements, like just reducing the number of clicks needed to buy something, they can yield significant, measurable increases in conversion rates. It all adds up.
And tying this back to the digital discovery piece we started with, direct social commerce adoption is just drastically speeding up this whole path, right?
Think about the sheer power of platforms like TikTok Shop, Instagram Checkout, and others like them. These native features, built right into the social platforms, have simplified the buying process so incredibly much. You can literally go from seeing a product demonstrated on a creator's reel to actually purchasing it within like 2 taps. You don't even have to leave the social app or navigate a separate website.
Wow, that is lightning fast commerce. It almost completely closes the gap between seeing something you like and actually buying it. The friction is virtually gone.
And it leads directly to higher impulse purchases, right? Because that delay time, that moment where you might second guess yourself between wanting something and buying it, it's minimized. Brands that are really embracing these streamlined social commerce tools, integrating their inventory directly with the platforms, they're seeing significant rewards, faster sales velocity, reduced cart abandonment rates. It's really become an operational necessity now, not just some trendy add-on feature.
Okay, let's pivot now to the actual product itself. Because the innovation there seems to be following these specific consumer habits and values we've been talking about that drive for efficiency, for health, for multifunctionality. We're seeing the powerful rise of what the source material calls skinification,
Yeah, skinification. It's essentially the blending of high-efficacy skincare ingredients directly into traditional makeup products. Your standard makeup is definitely yielding ground to these new hybrid cosmetics. Why? Because consumers just expect more from every dollar they spend and from every single item they put on their skin.
So we're talking about much more than just like a basic tinted moisturizer here.
Oh, far beyond that. We're seeing foundations formulated with really high concentrations of hyaluronic acid for deep, lasting hydration, or lipsticks and even eyeshadows that incorporate potent antioxidants like vitamin C or specific peptides designed to actively treat the skin while they provide color. The definition is key here. These are products that blend genuine skincare benefits, meaning verifiable ingredients at effective levels with the makeup benefits. It's a true dual-purpose formula that maximizes the utility for the consumer.
And this shift seems to align perfectly with that modern, health-conscious shopper who's also efficiency-minded, which, as we know, really defines Gen Z and millennials.
Precisely. Consumers are increasingly drawn to products that don't just enhance how they look right now, but also actively nourish the skin underneath. They see applying color or coverage as kind of a holistic extension of their long-term wellness routine. And these formulas, they align perfectly with that focus on efficiency and support those more minimalist routines, like the skin streaming trend we mentioned earlier. Innovation in this hybrid space, focusing on active ingredient concentration and, importantly, verifiable results is absolutely crucial for any brand wanting to stay relevant in 2025.
Okay, so let's say a brand is nailing all of this. They've got authenticity, they've mastered digital discovery, they have meticulous retention strategies, purposeful product innovation. What are investors looking for now? What's drawing the fresh capital in this super competitive market?
Well, investors in 2025, they're definitely looking beyond just simple fleeting trend cycles. They're applying much more rigorous financial scrutiny now. They're prioritizing brands that have strong unit economics first and foremost. Plus, compelling stories that show alignment with consumer values. And most importantly, proof of genuine community engagement that suggests long-term predictable loyalty.
Okay, let's pause on that term, unit economics. For our listeners, how should they understand that in the context of beauty retail? What does it really mean?
Yeah, good question. In short, it's basically about profitability per customer. Are you actually making money on each person you sell to over time? Investors really want to see that the lifetime value, the LTV of a customer, significantly outweighs the customer acquisition cost, the CC. How much did it cost you to get them versus how much will they spend with you? In a replenishment business like beauty, this ratio is absolutely key. If a brand spends, say, $30 to acquire a new customer, but that customer only buys $25 worth of product once before they churn and leave, well, the unit economics are unsustainable. You're losing money on every new customer. The successful brands, the ones attracting investment, they demonstrate that their LTV-CAC ratio is high, meaning they're acquiring customers efficiently and retaining them long enough for those customers to become highly profitable assets over time.
Got it. So that brings that operational excellence, the retention strategies, the cohort analysis, it brings it all right back into the core financial conversation.
It connects everything, exactly. The market now rewards brands that can prove they have that operational rigor down pat. In terms of where the actual capital is flowing right now, the sources identify 3 specific hot areas attracting fresh investment: biotech beauty, women's health, and fragrance wellness.
Okay, biotech beauty, that sounds like it feeds directly into that demand for scientific rigor we talked about, moving past vague buzzwords.
Absolutely. Biotech beauty focuses on using lab-grown ingredients that are highly stable, effective, and often mimic natural compounds, but can be produced more sustainably and reliably. It's very science-forward, very results-driven. Simultaneously, women's health is attracting funds because it's addressing specific, often underserved hormonal needs or life stage changes. Think menopause skincare, postpartum recovery products, areas that were ignored for too long. And fragrance wellness recognizes that scent is deeply integral to our mental and emotional well-being. It's pushing perfumes beyond just adornment into the realm of like therapeutic practice, mood boosting, calming, etc.
Interesting. And speaking of rigorous backing, it sounds like the simple buzzword clean beauty just isn't cutting it anymore. It's not enough to win investment, or even the consumer dollar, perhaps.
Yeah, that phrase, which was absolutely dominant for years, it's become really diluted and frankly, in many cases, scientifically dubious. What did it even mean? The level of scientific scrutiny is ramping up dramatically now. The winning formula today seems to be a combination: You need a strong, transparent vision and brand story, yes, but it has to be combined with rigorous operational excellence, verifiable ingredient claims backed by science, and the proven ability to run the business efficiently while still innovating purposefully in these highly specialized emerging fields.
Wow. Okay, so if we try to synthesize everything we've covered today from the rise of the creator all the way to this shift in investment focus, it seems like success in beauty retail in 2025 demands this incredibly complex, almost high-wire blend of data, empathy, and sheer speed.
It's truly fascinating, isn't it? Because despite this massive reliance on AI and AR tools and cohort analysis and all the data, the ultimate success factor still seems to be the human connection behind the screen. Behind every single successful conversion, every predictable repurchase cycle, there's a real consumer. A person who fundamentally wants to feel seen, understood, and genuinely aligned with the values of the brands they choose to support. Transparency and trust. They aren't just marketing buzzwords anymore. They're absolutely non-negotiable operational requirements.
And meeting those requirements demands not just a flawless digital strategy that maps every click and optimizes every funnel, but also the humanity to genuinely listen and the agility to evolve at the customer's pace, which is incredibly fast. So let's just quickly recap those key strategic actions we identified. For any brand aiming to win today, you absolutely have to follow the digital footprints, know where that 80% discovery is happening. You must genuinely tune into those creator-led trends and, crucially, grant creators real creative autonomy. You've got to collect those vital first-party insights using targeted tools like microsurveys. And you need to innovate with genuine purpose, embracing proven science-backed concepts like skinification.
And since that winning formula requires combining rigorous data, mapping those hyper-detailed funnels and understanding precise repurchase cycles with deep humanity, things like empathy, alignment, transparency, the ultimate challenge for brands really remains maintaining that breakneck speed and agility while simultaneously deepening that human connection. It's a huge logistical and emotional balancing act day in and day out.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. If you were to apply this same rigorous analysis of repurchase cycles to your own life, just like these top beauty brands are doing, what specific daily ritual or recurring purchase in your life could potentially be optimized? Think about your coffee bean subscription maybe, or ordering pet food, or even just stocking up on vitamins. Where's the friction hiding in your own routine? And how could a more data-driven, personalized intervention, maybe even one you create for yourself, make your life significantly more efficient? Something to think about.
Thanks for tuning in to the Song for Beauty podcast. This is a place where beauty meets community and it meets strategy and ideas. If anything resonated with you, if you were inspired, if ideas were sparked by this podcast, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, also share it. Be sure to check out www.samb4beauty.com. Stay tuned, and we hope to see you at the SAMB for Beauty conference this year in November. It's a virtual conference, November 5th through the 7th. There's a lot of great resources. You're going to access workshops, one-to-one consultations and membership. And then there are quarterly webinars for knowledge, and there's a knowledge base that you can access, all to support your efforts as you look at expanding some of your sales and marketing efforts for your business. We appreciate you checking in. Make sure to follow and check out the next episode.